Hello, all. Time for another coffee with Kilroy on a sci-fi fantasy Saturday. I typically call these episodes Beverage in a Book, with my beverage being coffee, and as you can see here, it's not very much left in the cup. Is that half full or half empty? Well, in this case, it might be half empty, and we'll talk about that as we go into the exploration and page turn of Scarlet Heroes, Sword and Sorcery Adventures for a Lone Hero by Kevin Crawford. Now, I picked this up mainly because of the lone hero aspect, that this was kind of advertised as a solo RPG, and I don't have a regular gaming group or role playing gaming group. My was doing one with my kids, and they're very busy, and one of them has even left the house and went off to college. So solo RPG is something that I'm always on the lookout for. And if you follow my channel, you know that I do a lot of solo gaming books and choose your own adventure type books and the like. But this one was advertised kind of as a solo RPG, and I thought, well, let's take a look and see what we have in here. And the part of the issue here is this is more of just an RPG book, more of an RPG setting and game. It has everything you need in here, the character creation and the kind of a setting and the monster manual and all that stuff. But the solo aspect is in here, but it's very, very skimpy. So that's kind of the half full type aspect. I typically don't give negative reviews, and this isn't a negative review of this. I think this is interesting material and still serves some of a purpose for solo play, just not as much or as hearty as I had expected. And that brings up a whole nother topic. Is it worthwhile doing negative reviews? And some content providers say, why do a negative review when you can go on to something else? And people put a lot of time and effort into games and books and what have you, and why tarnish that? And I tend to agree with parts of that. I also look at negative reviews as kind of a warning sign too. Like if I hear something positive about something that fits with my preference, then I'll look into it. If I see something negative and it's by a content provider that I share similar tastes, then I might go, well, maybe that's not for me. So I think being just forthright and being both positive and negative on whatever the content is, whatever the subject matter is, I think is useful. I can find something good in just about everything, whether it be a game, a book, a movie, music. I'll find some redeeming quality in just about most things. That doesn't mean I'm going to overlook the negative. I'll speak up on the negative as well. But I even there's very few movies, for example, that I can't find anything redeeming out of that. I might find at least a role or a character or dare say a scene that might have been interesting. But anyway, enough of that. That's a lot of weight on top of this. This, I think, is fine. Given its price point, though, I expected a lot more. I expected a lot more solo content. I've covered some solo-specific RPGs, and there's a lot more attention to the solo gameplay, and this one is not it. There's a section, but it's not. It pales in comparison to what I've seen with other things. So as role-playing content is fine. As solo role-playing content, it's 50-50. It just doesn't have enough teeth in it for me. You've got a little back of the book that gives you some context. It says here, within this book, you'll find a full standalone game system compatible with most other old school role-playing games. In addition, Scarlet Heroes is designed to fit as a smooth overlay on top of your own favorite old school game, allowing you to use classic modules and newer adventures for just 1 or 2 players without the need to rewrite the material or modify statistics. Use it to play your favorite adventures with friends, spouses, kids, or interested new players without the need to assemble a new group. So that aspect, I mean, they kind of try to make it more of a universal system that can be played, that you can basically use this as an overlay to play, I guess, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0 maybe, 5.0, Pathfinder, any of the other, then there's others out there as well, fantasy role-playing systems. But again, I was really mainly picking this up for the solo aspect. So let's get to a page turn. I've done enough intro on this, and I'm almost done with my coffee, so I better catch up here. It comes. I don't know if it comes in a bound version. You have this paperback version, and as I said, the cost was a little bit more than what. If this was fully solo focused, then I would have been fine with it. But as it is, it was just didn't meet my expectations, and that's my expectations, not necessarily your expectations. This gives you some context. This tells you about how that is compatible with other old school. They call it old school systems or old school games. Here's how you create your hero. So it's got a full system in here. So this is basically standalone. You do not have to pick up any other modules or systems to make this work. You can use it just this book. Here's creating your hero, playing the game, and this talks about checks, saving throws, all the stuff that you would expect in a role-playing, especially a fantasy role-playing game. Here's Red Sorcery, which is kind of their magic section. They call it Red Sorcery. Here's the World of Red Tide. That's the context or campaign setting. Bestiary or Foes. There's your monster manual. So you've got 25 pages of monsters. Treasury Beyond Price. So here's your equipment and wands and scrolls and all that other good stuff. Creating adventures, and then solo gaming. So you've got from 114 to 120. So you got 14 pages of solo gaming. So, and I kind of picked this up as a solo focused, and I've got 14 pages out of 131. So that was again my expectations, not yours, but that's why I'm kind of doing this page through, because you might find this as a real good, interesting setting, a nice introduction into role playing. Without all the baggage that you get with some of the other systems, and this might scratch your itch. But if you're picking this up for solo specific, there is some in here. It's just not as extensive as I had hoped. So this this has all your typical sections that you're going to see in any player's manual or dungeon master's type module or book, I should say. Creating your character, choosing a race, choosing a class. You've got your typical classes, cleric, fighter, magic user, thief, choosing traits, and it's not as extensive or as developed as like 3.5 on all that aspect of character creation. Here's your final touches. Here's a character creation summary, and you get into equipment. So I mean, this is very streamlined into getting into role playing. Here's your quick character generation here, and here's a player or a character sheet. There you go. Playing the game. So 15 pages of player manual, right? Then you got playing the game. This is the basics of combat checks and saving throws and all that other fun stuff. Injury, death, healing. So I mean, it really does streamline and get into it in a very a short order. And here's advancement, converting existing material. So this talks about how to merge it with some other content that might be out there. Here's a quick reference here. Here's an example of play. And here's Red Sorcery. So here we're getting into the magic section. So the spells, you got cleric spells. You've got magic user spells. And that's it. So you got cleric and magic user. Very much the bare minimum what you would need for magic. And here's some patrons. Here's the World of Red Tides. You got your map, and you've got your background context. You've got some people of the Isles, nations of the Isles. So this is all, again, everything in one. But I mean, to me, that's kind of interesting to have it all streamlined down into 130 pages of to do a whole gaming context is that is an accomplishment. So I mean, I do tip my tip of the cap to that, because this is and it gives you a whole context and everything. So you know that's a lot in a little bit of space, and it leaves you to create the rest, that's what dungeon mastering or DMing or game playing, role playing is all about, right? Here's your bestiary of foes. So here's all your monster manual, and I would imagine this is the part where you can really port in other books and tomes and monster manuals from other systems if you wanted to get something that fit your need in gaming. So quite a bit there. I mean, this is probably the biggest section. Then you get an encounter, so you have a random encounter table. So this is useful in solo play. I mean, I you can actually play. I've got advanced D&D from the old days. I would just sit down with the Dungeon Master's Guide and go through the random encounters and tables, and were meant to be used to create dungeons and the like. And I would just play a game based on that, roll up a character, and just go through encounters and kind of fill in the holes. And so you can play, do solo RPG with just random encounter tables. And so, this is, even though this is kind of made for just the basic system, multiplayer, you can use this for the solo play as well. These are like gold for solitaire playing. Treasure beyond price. So here you get all your treasure, your equipment, all the real cool stuff that you want. Magic items, potions, scrolls, rings, armor, the standard fare of all the stuff you want. Then here's about creating adventures. Here's adventure tags. So this probably is helpful in solo play as well, using some of this as a guide to locations and encounters. And there's quite a bit of this in here as well. So I mean, when I said only 14 pages, given the random encounter tables and some of the tags and stuff, that there is more here to do solo playing than just those 14 pages. It's talking about some quick generation for characters, and then you get solo gaming. So this talks about this. So page 114, and you've got some random charts for solo play, and that's basically all this is. This is basically just random encounter type charts, or setting up the stage for the adventure. So you got urban adventures, you've got urban adventure plots and crimes, you've got urban adventure scenes, wilderness adventure. It basically boils it down into wilderness and urban and dungeon, so the three different areas. So again, in that respect, they've done a good job, or this author has done a good job of boiling down to the essence what are the key aspects of role playing. The character classes, the magic, the weapons, the items, the three different wilderness, urban, and dungeon. I mean, they've done I appreciate how they've organized it. Let's put it that way. But again, and there's quite a bit of charts put in here. So I mean, I'm not saying this isn't good at all for solo play. I think it's fine. I just expected it to be mostly focused on the solo aspect, as opposed to just as kind of the very tail end of it. But that's just me. Again, anyway, now that you've seen it, you can make your own decisions on it, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. So Scarlet Heroes, I'm glad I picked it up, because I think it's interesting, and it's going to spark some ideas, and those charts at the end will be helpful in doing some solo play. So I'll try this out. And it's probably better than what my initial impression is. It's just the 14 pages kind of threw me for a loop, as opposed to I expected a little bit more extensive treatment of it. But so I'm going to try it out. I'll let you know what I think of it. But I wanted to do this half full cup of coffee discussion with you all on a sci-fi fantasy Saturday. So let me know your thoughts if you tried this out, or what are you looking for in solo role-playing systems or games or aids that help you play fantasy or any kind of sci-fi, any themed role-playing, but playing it solo. Anyway, thanks for all for stopping by. Take care. Thanks for watching.